It hides behind closed doors. Domestic violence isn't a distant crisis. It's here, in our neighborhoods, our schools, our families. 1 in 3 women, 1 in 4 men. Today, we listen. Today, we stand together.
I first had met this guy back in February, and first I thought it was, cool. Maybe he was just a guy that wanted to be friends. And then all of a sudden, he would ask to send pictures, and I've never experienced that. And so he kept asking and asking, and so it kind of got to the point where it was like, okay, I'll send them, and then it's just this one time, and then I'm done. And so I sent them, and it kind of stopped for a while, and then he would ask again, and I sent them again because it was just a lot of pressure onto me. So I was like, maybe if I do it this time, he'll stop.
But abuse rarely stops that easily. It feeds on this type of manipulation, leaving the victim vulnerable and defenseless.
The way it affected me mentally would have suicidal thoughts because I thought that he would expose me, and I was just genuinely really scared to go to school because of what if the pictures got out, what if people would see them, and I didn't eat for a while. It would take me a really long time to get out of bed and just do regular things because it was just really draining.
The emotional toll of domestic violence runs deep. That's why support from professionals, organizations, and communities is essential. No one should have to carry this alone. Which is why CT is dedicated to supporting those in need and clarifying just how broad domestic violence can be.
Hello everyone, my name is CT. I'm a licensed master social worker at the Department of Mental Health. I work with individuals who have SPMI. That just means severe and persistent mental illness. So domestic violence is one of those factors that may affect some of my career because when my clients deal with intimate partner violence, it is a need that has to be addressed in therapy. When left unaddressed, it can lead to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and various other trauma and stress-related disorders, which can increase depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, and other mental health diagnoses. Everyone deserves to feel safe and experience healthy relationships, and that there should be more support and just awareness in general about what domestic violence and abuse is, because it's such a broad spectrum. According to the Department of Justice, domestic violence can be physical, sexual, emotional, economic, psychological, or technological. Actions or threats or other patterns of coercive behavior that influence another person within an intimate partner relationship. This includes any behaviors that intimidate, manipulate, humiliate, isolate, frighten, terrorize, coerce, threaten, blame, hurt, injure, or wound someone. So that's really broad, right? That's not just, oh, someone hit me, or oh, someone's not sharing money, or oh, someone called me a name, right? Domestic violence and abuse is huge. It encompasses a lot, right? And that often just gets kind of thrown under the table. We don't talk about technological abuse. We don't talk about financial abuse a lot. So a lot of times, women and men don't even know they're being abused because they've never heard of some of these.
While professionals like CT offer therapeutic support for victims, the first line of response is often much closer to home: a trusted adult, a school counselor, or even a family member. This counselor shares her experience.
One of the things that I did when I first came in is I met this 16-year-old, and her story was just a story of abuse. I take kids kind of at their word. I don't need an adult to verify what they said, and I just try to support them. And it takes you into some dark places sometimes, and it's really hard to go into those dark places for some people. Not everybody's equipped for it, and so I don't encourage it for every counselor. But for me, depending on the situation, I try to do what I can. And the whole goal is to stabilize them enough, because education is the vehicle to save them. Education is the vehicle to get them out of this hamster wheel they never can get off or something, and because they don't have the power, or, the parent or the guardian or whoever they live with, or the foster care system that they're in, they don't really have their voice heard. I think the way it's just shaped me is to try to empower them and stabilize them as much as I can in my role. I can't fix everything, but I definitely try to do what I can where I can, and if we can get them to graduate, sometimes that's going to be the biggest highlight of their life, and I'm proud of that, and I'll show up when I can.
Beyond the support of trusted adults, victims of domestic violence have immediate access to resources at the national and local levels. Here in Aiken, the Cumbie Center is an organization offering services, education, and advocacy to those in need.
Okay. So the Cumbie Center is a nonprofit agency that serves victims of domestic violence and sexual violence and their families. We have been around since 1979. We opened up our SNAVE house in the early 80s, I think in 1980. And then a couple of years later, we opened up our sexual assault program. We serve 6 South Carolina counties: Aiken, Allendale, Barnwell, Edgefield, McCormick, and Saluda. We serve everyone, men, women, everyone, and all of our services are free and confidential. We have lots of different services that they can contact us. They can contact us through our website, they can contact us through our 24/7 hotline, or they can call our offices. We're also active on social media with Facebook and Instagram, so that's a great way to leave messages or to find out more about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and just some information about domestic violence and sexual assault. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Okay. A majority of young folks up through the age of about 22 will experience some form of domestic or sexual violence before they reach adulthood. Okay. And those are national statistics. In South Carolina specifically, we sit at about 43 to 45% of our South Carolina women are victims of both domestic violence and sexual assault. That's almost half of our women in South Carolina. Okay. And then in reference to our men, we're at about 1/4 of our men are victims of domestic violence, and about 1/5 of our men are victims of sexual assault. So that's a very, sobering statistic, isn't it? So in terms of domestic violence, that's at a high number. In terms of sexual assault, that's at a high number. So Cumbie Center services are absolutely needed. So all of these things, not only do we want to help you when something happens, but we want to help educate you and empower you to be the best that you can be and the strongest that you can be on the front end, so that you can identify these red flags of both domestic violence and sexual violence. It's super important for teens to be aware of what the red flags are. Sometimes it's very hard to even identify that those things are happening to you. But know your resources and know that you can call Cumbie Center 24 hours a day. We also have a safe house and a shelter for adults who are fleeing from domestic violence or sexual assault. But we have advocates on board 24 hours a day that can answer any questions, and you can speak with us anonymously. You can send anonymous emails over our website to us. And so help us out there in education and empowerment are the keys to you being able to move through this part of whatever your journey is. And I think that is what we need to do. It's about empowering and educating. That's what it is. And that's what Cumbie Center is here for.
If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, reach out, offer support, and share these resources. No one should have to face this alone.